Well, that was a weird book. Hey guys, Adam Samuel here, and just a quick channel update before we get started. I know I said I was going to be reviewing The Shining by Stephen King this week, but I started reading I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and I literally finished it in one sitting. I couldn't put it down, and I enjoyed reading it, I think. I say it that way because I was pretty much terrified all the way through. It's the sort of book that you read, and then you find yourself looking over your shoulder whenever you're alone in a dark room. Not the greatest way to feel, but it also means the book had an impact, and this one was just... It was something that was definitely different, and I have so many thoughts. So let's talk about it. And just a heads up, there will be no spoilers here, so don't worry about me giving anything away. So I first heard about this book because I saw the trailer for the adaptation that's coming to Netflix, and I immediately decided to pick it up. The story itself is pretty simple. An unnamed woman is going on a road trip with her boyfriend Jake to meet his parents for the first time. On the way, she admits to the reader that she's thinking of ending things with him, even though she's also not quite sure why she feels that way. From there, the story is pretty straightforward. We start with a car ride, meet the parents, and then there are only a few other stops to go before the book is over. One thing that surprised me was how linearly the story was told. It's not heavy on plot. The first 70 pages were literally just the girlfriend and Jake in the car talking as they drove to meet the parents. And yet, even though they're talking about more or less ordinary things, there's a weird sense of dread and tension in the air, like an axe is about to drop. It's unnerving because there's nothing bad or off that's actually happening, and yet somehow it feels like there's a hand on your shoulder. This comes from the way the author structures his sentences. It's smartly done in an unorthodox way that fits the tone and gives it that uncomfortable feel. Since the sentences are weird, we feel that something's off, even though there isn't anything off that's actually happening. The author, Iain Reid, uses commas sparingly, which usually would make the writing dry, but here it worked and enhanced the story. I was really impressed by it. You almost feel like the very next sentence could be, and then they started shooting. It just has that quality to it. But on the other hand, for the amount of tension that's built, I do feel like there also wasn't enough payoff. The author is building this tower, and it's just going higher and higher, and I think I was maybe expecting more from what it ends up being. Now that I know the ending, and looking back with hindsight, I think there were parts that went too far for no reason. I would be expecting something to happen, but for the most part it just wouldn't. It's creepy, but creepy for creepy's sake, and I wish there could have been more. It's like going to a curtain in a dark room, pulling it aside, and there's nothing behind it, and then that's just it. Eventually, scene after scene, there has to be something hiding behind that curtain, but there almost never was. This especially came across for me in a scene at a Dairy Queen. I can't go too far into the story without giving anything away, but the book itself doesn't really go beyond its basic premise. You're here for the atmosphere and the tone. So if you're expecting some big-time thriller, I think you might need to temper your expectations. It's also just a really short book, about 200 pages, and like I said, about 70 of those at the beginning are just two people talking in a car. But that aside, I still really enjoyed this book. It was short, it was scary, and I didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome. It ended just at the right time, and I also think it had an ending that people are going to really like talking and theorizing about. Looking at it as a writer myself, I think the author mostly made the right decisions, and I think he really struck gold. This book was going to live or die based on his writing, and he knocked it out of the park. So taking that all into consideration, my grade for I'm Thinking of Ending Things is 4 out of 5 stars. The story was good, but like I said, I wish there could have been more payoff for all the suspense that was built. So those are my thoughts. If you liked this review, subscribe, leave a like, and let me know down in the comments if you're going to be checking out either the book or the Netflix movie. I'll see you next time for what I promise will be my review of The Shining. Until then, bye.